Greetings, I'm Gene Ching, and I'm here at the Den of Geek studio, and I'm here with the directors and executive producers of the Continental, the prequel series coming to Peacock from the John Wick world.
Let me explain who's here.
Yeah,
Rosen, the editor, Drew Boughton, the production designer, Larnell Stovall, action coordinator and second unit director, Marshall Persinger, executive producer.
Thank you, Doctor.
And then I'm just a production assistant.
And first thing I want to say, I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, not just for expanding the Wick world, but for having one of the coolest characters named Gene I've seen in a long, long time.
Who, by the way,
Gene's
was played by her husband.
Really?
Yes.
Imagining you faced a lot of challenges trying to enter into the Wick world. What was the most challenging thing in terms of trying to open up this this multiverse?
Well, I would say it's because you have to live up to the expectations of the 4 films that are out there, which are set in contemporary times. And the part that's not pressurized is, oh, we get to go back in the 70s and show how the hotel came into being with Winston and Sharon, right? So the exciting thing is that we all were able to, and he's worked with them, the stunt team and 8711 and Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, so he already knows it way more than we all did. And we all had to kind of watch those movies and reverse engineer everything. And that was kind of fun. Not kind of fun, it was fun.
How was it trying to live up to the choreography level of the original movies?
First of all, when Chad called me, I think it was a 30-second phone call. Am I interested? Yes. Cool. Good luck. Don't mess it up, so to speak. And then I hopped on the phone with Albert, I think a day later, and I haven't heard from him since, so I guess I did an okay job, you know, so. But yeah.
And what's interesting about the way they work, and we all saw it, is I didn't know, it's like this very new school way of stunt choreography. Traditionally in the 80s and 90s movies, you don't see them making use of the room they're in. And they are kind of this mindset of whatever room we're in, we're using those tools. If you're in a kitchen, it's pots and pans. If you're in a bathroom, they may put a toilet seat on your head, you know. And it's this very creative kind of think tank they put together. They do this stunt viz. You get to see it first. You get to tinker with it. But it's a very creative style of stunt choreography that hadn't been around before Chad and David Leitch really put it at the forefront.
You mentioned 70s, 80s, or 80s, 90s, yeah. And I want to talk about the 70s since that's what this is set. You had this concept of disco noir, and I'd like to unpack that a little bit.
Well, disco noir for me was more a way in for me. They probably have their own motivations. Mine was through music, and also the kind of inclusionary kind of thing, even though that might be a bad word to some people out there, but it's a good word. You know, it's like New York is made up of different cultures. Men, women, gender identities, and disco kind of represented inclusiveness, you know? And also the style of the beat, the rhythm, the flavors, the lighting, and fun, most importantly. Having fun, escapism. Like, the John Wick movies are great at taking the audience into a world they've never seen before. And they know it's not reality, so they're having fun with it. And then we have to leave it to Drew to kind of design what that look is for the 70s, and to me, it was more an impressionistic take on the 70s. You know?
It's very much an homage to that genre and that time of action. I love the little Easter eggs and references all throughout it where you're...
Oh, yeah. We got the Starsky and Hutch car. We have the Warriors first. Yeah. And then what's the other? There's the taxi from Taxi Driver and the opening. Mm-hmm. And then TV shows, commercials, and all the retro stuff they kind of had to source. Mm-hmm. And then also for Larnell, it was, when we first talked, it was about, and you have to explain this, Larnell, is like, it wasn't this modern style of MMA fighting. He would break down what the characters needed for, and you can talk about that, like, because it was like this choppy kind of karate in one moment. And
yeah, what we wanted to do was coming behind Wick, which is also intimidating because the action's amazing. We wanted to set our tone, our style, and our brand. And our brand was unique for the 70s. It was more smash mouth, in your face, gritty and visceral. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't too polished, and it gravitated to all the actors in their training and also on film.
Yeah, I love the way the series builds up, and not to be a spoiler or anything, to that last episode, which is just one giant action sequence That was incredible.
There was some dialogue in there too, I believe. There was a few talking heads. Yeah.
It was fun to hear you and Albert try to figure out how you were going to make different characters with different weapons.
We made use of everything. Like you said, the kitchen, I think people will think about a different way they can use an iron in the future.
Yeah. Or a garbage disposal.
Or garbage disposal. Yes, we used everything. Even the baby came in handy for the fight scene.
Oh, because that's what I remember. I remember when Larnell and I first talked, especially at that opening sequence in the staircase with Winston's brother Frankie. I don't think I'm spoiling anything. What I grew up on was like Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was more kind of the serious martial artist. Jackie Chan had a playfulness. They already were doing that, and I didn't know that, but I would say to Larnell, like, can we have some gags, like make it fun, like he's throwing this and it's being thrown back, and all I had was these kind of like overview ideas. I didn't have the specifics, and then they came in and did a fantastic job. And then Drew would have to deal with, like, is this table going to be rubber, you know? Or is that elevator that you punch this guy's head in, you know, like when you're doing action, it's not the same as like a dramatic movie. You're constantly dealing with what this guy needs for stunts.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, one of the great things is, okay, is this going to explode? Is it going to break away? Is it going to fall over? You know, and looking for opportunities to do that. And I loved it.
One of the things I really enjoyed about the film, and you mentioned it just a minute ago, is the inclusivity. Not only is it have a lot of people of color, but also a lot of very strong female characters. Mm-hmm. Can we speak to that a little bit?
For me, when I first read the script, episode 1 was already done. And I saw that in the script. And I talked to the showrunner, Kirk Ward, one of the writers and the kind of lead writer through the whole thing. And I said, you know what I love about the script? It's not done in a cynical way. It's not like they're plug and play trying to meet demographics. It was all very natural. Mm-hmm. And then by the end of the whole experience, I got my partner here who's a woman too, can speak to it. I was kind of naive to it. I was like, I didn't realize how many powerful female roles were in there and what they do in the 3rd episode that's so untraditional that I can't spoil. Because you would think it's the men that are resolving all the physical issues. And that's kind of a hint, hint. No, it's the women that's doing the real damage, you know, so.
Our motto was never compromise. So we had the best actors, the best women. All of our actors were great. Yep. The actors were so excited to do the stunts. That's all they talked about. They were so excited to be trained by Larnell. So it was a really great experience for everybody.
But he had the pressure of, whether it was male or female, he had to do it in a shorter amount of time than the Wick films have. The Wick films have months. He had to whip some of them in shape in weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to hear they were excited because at the gym they avoided me, you know. So I'm happy to hear that there was some pleasantries. But yeah, look, they all worked hard. The main thing we wanted to focus on was making sure everybody's fights was believable, regardless of their size, height, or age. Mm-hmm. Wanted to make sure the fights had context, they had character, and there was some small stories in there. They didn't just kick punch for the sake of it. People analyzed each other. People measured their opponent. People thought. You saw a chess match between certain people. So we want to make sure the action had a focal point at all times.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for your time. Check out the Continental coming to Peacock very soon. This is Gene Ching for Den of Geek.